Well, it officially seems that flights just don't operate on time anymore. I'm at the airport to pick up my friend and thumbnail man, DSLR Dave, and his flight has been delayed over an hour, so I'm sitting here now, going to shoot a little talkie vlog. Don't expect any fancy editing. I guess technically it is still a car vlog. We're going to talk about the latest in the news, the leaker in the government who disclosed a bunch of classified information as relates to, among other things, the war in Ukraine, America's efforts in assisting Ukraine. Is Ukraine winning the war? How leak exposed the difficult choices facing Kyiv as it suffers tens of thousands of casualties, a shortage of anti-aircraft missiles, and now secrets of spring offensive could have been revealed. The amazing thing in all of this is how the media has officially gone from being government watchdogs to being government lapdogs. We are a full 180 from the Pentagon Papers, where New York Times versus the United States of America, the issue of prior restraint. The New York Times was authorized by the court to publish stolen classified information that was leaked to the New York Times, showing some compromising issues as relates to, I believe it was the war in Vietnam that the government didn't want it getting out. A 1996 article in the New York Times said that the Pentagon Papers had demonstrated, among other things, that the Johnson administration had, quote, systematically lied not only to the public, but also to Congress, end quote. And they sued to prevent the publication of classified information that was stolen and leaked to the media. My goodness, we've gone from that world to the world now in which the New York Times, instead of trying to identify and secure an interview with the individual who released the classified information, they go into the world of identifying the leaker, facilitating his arrest for the government. An article from the New York Times, the airman who gave gamers a real taste of war. The group liked online war games, but then Jack Teixeira, a 21-year-old National Guard airman, began showing them classified documents, members say. And you have Fox News, in its coverage of this, focusing not on the content of the leaks, but rather on the gaming propensities of the leaker. Leak suspect's last message to gamer pals revealed as Jack Teixeira prepares to face judge. You have the media now running to smear the leaker as some sort of gun nut gamer who was unlawfully leaking this information to impress the gaming community, some 4chan community. Nobody cares about the content of the leaks. The media has now gone into full protection of the government, focusing on smearing the leaker as opposed to focusing on the leaks, and in some Q&A period, instead of asking questions about the content of the leaks, asking the government what it's going to do to make sure that its wrongdoings, its potential exploitation of foreign countries to further proxy wars against its ideological and political adversaries, what it can do to tamp down on those disclosures.
Okay, in the days after the leaks came to light, what steps has DoD taken to reduce the number of people who have access to not only these classified briefings, but the classified material in general? But you are taking steps to tighten that, I guess, population who might have access to this level of information.
General Ryder, you say that there are strict protocols in place, and yet a 21-year-old airman was able to access some of the nation's top secrets. How did this happen, and isn't this a massive security breach? What is your message to anyone who might be thinking of leaking these kind of documents in the future?
Can you tell us, are there less people who have access to this type of information today than there were a week ago?
To follow on that, these documents were available long before April 5th and 6th. So what took so long for DoD and the intelligence communities to locate these documents?
Are you going to release this airman's service record?
What technologies is the Pentagon applying right now to both spot leaked documents online and track potential indicators of leaking type practices? Do you plan to be investing in more?
Given the gravity of the situation, are you actively paring down the distribution list now? Is this a process that's moving quickly? Or is it going to take time for there to be meaningful substantive changes to the distribution? And then is DoD or has DoD taken additional measures to restrict the access to classified information of others in the Massachusetts Air National Guard?
Sort of as a follow-on to Carla and Brandy's questions, can you say whether DoD has anyone looking at chat rooms on Discord, for example, or other social media platforms right now for leaked information? And if not, should DoD have these people?
Amazing thing. What do the disclosures show? It's mixed. The media will spin it. It shows that the government, at least internally, is not as optimistic as it has been portraying itself to be publicly about Ukraine's chances of victory and its current status in the war as relates to victory. The media will spin it, as it's starting to do already, saying the disclosures, the leaks show that Russia is losing 2 soldiers for every 1 Ukrainian soldier. That's good on paper, except Russia has an endless army, and if you studied history, you'll know that Russia, in World War II, lost more civilians and soldiers than pretty much anyone else involved in that war. They have a history of fighting long battles, of winning these wars of attrition, even if it means sacrificing more people. 2 to 1, however, on the scale of this war, is not something that should be celebrated as a victory for Ukraine. In fact, it's just not a victory for Ukraine, except for the fact that it allows the U.S., NATO, European powers to use Ukraine in furtherance of its proxy war against Russia. From an article in Newsweek, are American troops fighting in Ukraine? What U.S. intel leaks reveal? But the amazing thing is that this has now revealed itself to be the iteration 2.0 of 2 weeks to flatten the curve, safe and effective. You have the government, I don't know if it's colluding with or just aiding and abetting the government in concealing the truth, concealing failed government policy that is resulting in the death and, in this case, the killing of innocent civilians because they don't want to admit that the policy was terrible. They don't want to admit incompetence. They don't want to admit that maybe there were other reasons for which they continue to pursue these failed policies. I don't know, profit in the context of COVID, profit in the context of never-ending international wars. It's very good for the military war machine, for the industrial war complex. It's not very good for Ukrainian citizens. And so instead of, maybe opening the dialogue for some form of negotiated settlement, no. Conceal the truth, conceal what's actually going on there, go and paint a rosy image and have your mockingbird media promote that propaganda to the general public. And when the truth is revealed, don't get outraged about the truth. Get outraged about those who revealed the truth. This is outrageous. This is now a full 180, and people should appreciate that we are living in a different world from the world in which media went to courts for permission to publish, even if it was illegally stolen, leaked information to the media. We've gone from Pentagon Papers to indicting Julian Assange, and the media is mum about it. We've gone from a world where exposing the crimes of the government was praised and applauded to exposing it being criminalized and the media running hard cover for the government in all of its failed policy. All right, I think my buddy has now landed, or is at least at the terminal, so I'm going to go. I'll see you all soon. Might not get a live stream out today because I'm going to be spending time with my friend. See you all Sunday nights with Robert Barnes for our Law for the People podcast. Law live streams on Sunday. You can find us on Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. And 3 things cannot long be hidden: the moon, the sun, and the truth. Buddha. Peace. Dave.